Hey, welcome. Good evening. Hopefully we are live on the STA Facebook page. Sorry we're not on YouTube. I didn't have some kind of administration rights, but I'm all good with the Facebook page. So we should be live, hopefully. Welcome back to another STA podcast, web chat, whatever it's called these days. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm standing in for Matt today. Matt's on holiday and no doubt sunning himself somewhere. He's actually texted me saying he's at some kids party thing. So hi Kat, good evening. So if you pop us a message in our Facebook group, then I'll be able to put it up on the screen like that, so you can ask any questions. We've got a special guest today. So advertised was Tim Allardyce from Rehab, my patient, but we've also got Nichola coming in as well, Nichola Smith, and so a bonus guest for us this evening. So we've got two people working at the Commonwealth Games, and my Brummie accent may have to come out every now and again because it's being held in Birmingham. And we're really proud to have the games in the city, and hopefully these guys are enjoying it as well. So we're going to bring in Tim first of all, and just have a bit of a chat with Tim, and then we'll bring in Nichola. So Tim, here we go. There you are. How you doing?
Hey Mike, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, mate. Yeah, very good, very good. So yeah, we just had a brief chat in the lobby there before getting going. It looks as if a few more have come in as well. Hi, Becky.
Hello, Becky.
It's all my I teach an anatomy course every Monday, and it's all my anatomy guys. We've got Kat and Becky.
Good promotion.
Yeah. So Tim, welcome. Welcome to Birmingham. And whereabouts are you based at the moment?
I'm based in Warwick campus. So we're at University of Warwick, just south of Coventry. And it's been really great here. So from what I understand, I think they were building an athletes village for all the athletes, but I think because of COVID, it got delayed. So they've put all of the athletes and officials and medics and whatnot into 3 different campuses. So we've got a Warwick campus. We've got a campus at the NEC for the weightlifting and all the other events going on at the NEC, the boxing and stuff. And then there's a campus at the University of Birmingham. So we're based in student accommodation, which is what you can see behind me.
Nice.
Sort of student accommodation. But the facilities have been really fantastic.
Brilliant. No, that's great. And what's your day-to-day role, Tim? What would you be doing in your normal sort of clinic life?
My normal clinic life. So when I'm treating, I do mostly a mix of hands-on treatment and rehab, mostly hands-on treatment with an interspersion of rehabilitation.
Yeah.
That involves mobilizations and some massage and some stretching and a little bit of electrotherapy like laser and shockwave. And I typically focus on backs, necks, and shoulders. And I'll often see people post-surgery as well. So I often see people in the acute phase, and then I hand most of rehabilitation on to my team. So yeah, I do that during my day job. And over here, it's a little bit different.
I was going to say, how does it differ? Yeah.
Well, it does differ quite a lot. I mean, I'm basically a dog's body or a gopher. So I will do anything from going on errands, picking up things. So last night, for example, one of our shot putters. So we had a shot putter shot putting today. She qualified for the final, and she's really interesting athlete. She needed some shot put shoes, so I managed to order them on Amazon Prime. If I'd got them delivered, they would have arrived today, but I needed them yesterday, so I had to send them to a pickup location. I got a car to take me to a drop box next to a convenience shop, picked up the shoes and took them back for her.
Wow.
I go on recce's, I go to see the team, I might go from different venues. I mean, I'm doing all sorts of things. I mean, my day starts about sort of 7:30 a.m. And then I will go to the venue of whoever's competing that day. So this morning we had athletics, we had a shot put and a 100-meter runner. And so I go to the athletics stadium, the Alexander Stadium, and that was fantastic venue, fantastic. And then I had swimmers competing at the same time, so I had to shoot back to the aquatic centre, look after them. Then I went on to the Birmingham University because 2 of the swimmers had left, so I needed to see them. And then from Birmingham University, got lunch, and then went to the wrestling at Warwick campus.
Wow. So yeah, doing a fair few miles there then. Yeah.
Lot of
But I
mileage.
hear it's not all it's not you driving, I hear.
It's not me driving. I've been very lucky. So for the first 2 days, I had to get buses, and it was a nightmare. And I said, look, you have to get me a VAP. A VAP is like an all-access kind of car pass. So I drove my car up. So I said, look, I don't care about petrol prices. I don't care about money in terms of paying for petrol. I just need to get to places. So can you please get me one of these car VAPs, and I'll drive my own car. So they tried to get these car VAPs, and could not get me a VAP. So in the end, they got me something called an upgrade pass, which is even better. So this is a T2 upgrade pass. And what this does is I can go up to a T2 at any venue, which is a car, a Tesla. They're all electric. So they've got a fleet of something like 400 electric cars. It's amazing. Most of them Teslas. And you can get a driver to drive you to any venue. So Brilliant. I literally, like, it's almost having a chauffeur-driven car. I mean, I jump in there, I get a driver, they'd take me to aquatics or to NEC or to athletics or whatever. So it's really cool and saves me loads of time.
Yeah, that must be amazing.
Like door-to-door service.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. And I guess because you're not having to do the driving or anything yourself, you can then do other things and on the emails whilst you're traveling. Yeah,
emails. Doing photos. So I do photos. So I've been uploading photos for the guys. But emails, you know, it's like everybody's got like 100 emails a day, right? And if you don't do them during the day, they mount up at night. You're there till 11, 12 o'clock at night answering emails. So I get them done during the day. I just hotspot on my phone.
Brilliant.
Get the laptop out, 4G, Bosch, answer all my emails, and I can do that on an hour's journey. In Birmingham, the traffic, Mike. I mean, the traffic has been horrific.
Welcome to Birmingham, mate.
Not as bad as Rio, though. So
but
the traffic's been bad. I mean, it took me an hour to get from Birmingham University to Warwick campus today. But it's an hour I can just email. So.
That's not bad, actually. So I live about 3 miles outside the city centre, not far from Birmingham Uni, actually, and it will at rush hour it takes me an hour to get into the city to do 3 miles. It's just insane. Yeah, you can't catch the wrong time. Yeah, so that an hour from Warwick is not too bad. That's not too bad. So I'm just going to bring Nicola in just to get her experiences so far as well. So let's just bring you in here as well. And if anybody's got any questions, just pop up. Hopefully you guys can see the chat as well. There's like a little chat box on the side of our screen, and you can should hopefully be able to see some messages coming through. So if you want to keep your eye on that, if there's any juicy questions that you want to answer. But Nicola, welcome. Oh, just take you off there. There we go. Sorry.
I was just saying thanks for inviting me. I really appreciate the invitation. Thanks, Tim, for thinking of me.
Brilliant.
Oh, sorry.
Seeing your photos on Facebook of you with the whole medical team, so it's been brilliant.
Yeah, well, I think it's just become a bit of a thing every day. Whoever's in is like, right, huddle, get as many people in the photos as possible. So that's been good. Really good team of people here. Great.
And are you being chauffeur driven in a Tesla everywhere you go?
I'm being chauffeur driven on an Avanti West Coast train.
Oh, the height of luxury.
I know. I think we'll compare. We've done how many steps every day on our Fitbits and whatnot. Certainly. Walking around. Well, I'm in Coventry actually. I'm based in Coventry, and sort of shuttling in with a lot of the other team.
Whereabouts are you being shuttled to? So where's
okay? So I'm in the athlete recovery area at the Hilton, which is like the athlete village near the NEC. So we've had, so we have our separate bit. I'm currently in this sort of workforce dining area. I tried to tuck myself out of the way. And then the athletes, obviously, they have their own separate areas for training, eating, etc. And then, we've just got like an open house at the athletes recovery, which is just around the, we refer anything medical to the polyclinic team, and then we've just been we're open from 7 till 11.
Okay.
So
Brilliant.
on shifts. So but yeah, it's great team. I've mostly been doing late shifts, so the 3 till 11 stint. But it's been a good team, and we've had the luxury of having a TV in there, so we've been us and the other athletes have been able to watch some of the events. So
Cool.
the weightlifting's been particularly exciting. And obviously
Yeah.
the football, the Lionesses, just amazing.
Brilliant. I bet
Yeah.
that was a good atmosphere.
Got quite emotional in there, I think, really. Yeah.
Oh, that's ace. That's really good. So what's your journey's been like? So if we go for Tim first, so how did you get into becoming part of the Commonwealth? What was your route in?
Well, I was really, really lucky. So I managed to look after a Tongan athlete. So I'm representing Team Tonga. So small little island, very, very small, 100,000 population in the South Pacific, sort of somewhere near Samoa and sort of a bit further on from Fiji. And you might have heard them in the news because they got hit by a pretty nasty volcanic eruption recently, about 20 miles north of Tonga. That's pretty bad. They had a tidal wave. It severed their communication lines, and then it got covered. The whole island got covered in ash. But I got with them about 4 years ago, and so being in England, they said, it's actually would save us the cost of flights if you and the doctor, who's also in England, could come up and support the team. So it was there's actually 3 of us from the UK that have supported the team. So there's also a sports therapist that's working with Tonga Rugby Sevens.
Brilliant.
And she's been brilliant. So we came up through that, through being local, if you like, through being attached to the team previously.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, and how about you, Nicola? What was your route into the games and where you are now?
Well, I have to sort of thank STA really, because it came up on. I can't remember who posted it up now. Actually, I'm ashamed to say. So I should tag somebody in here. But some kind person put it on the chat on the STA group page, and I just thought, yeah, I think I'll give that a go. It sounds really great experience, and particularly, say, after COVID, when it's all been a bit in the doldrums and there's not been any public events or anything like that. So just thought, yeah, give it a go. My kids are a bit old, can leave them, not leave them on their own, just but they're with the dad, so they're old enough they can sort themselves out to a degree, and they're not so dependent on me now. So my husband very kindly said I could come along here, so he's holding the fort at home whilst I am out here doing this, which is brilliant.
That's great. And I hear you kind of get allocated shifts, is that right? So you've got a certain allocation, and when did you start, and how many shifts have you done so far?
So my first day was on the 30th, so I started off with an early shift, so start at 7, and the clinic finishes at 11 o'clock, so it's either most people are either 7 till 3 and then 3 till 11, and then there's some variation within that. Also, some of the physios do pop back and forth to, if we're really busy, or they'll take some athletes to them as well, and just to relieve people for breaks and so on. So cool. But it has been just a really good experience.
Brilliant.
Either getting up early, not so much. I'm not really an early bird, if I'm honest. But it was lovely and quiet in Coventry. So yeah.
Cool. Okay. Tim, have you got another special guest?
I have. You can introduce yourself, Aurora.
Hi, I'm Aurora Paris, obviously a sports therapist. I graduated last year from Hartbury University, and currently with the Tongan Sevens team.
Brilliant. How's it going, Aurora?
Yeah, really well. The boys are really low maintenance. There hasn't been any crazy injuries, so it's just about getting them prepped for each game, making sure they have a good recovery, and just keeping them going for the next tournament. So they'll be good. It's been good, thank you.
Brilliant, good. Is this your first games? First one you've been part of?
The Commonwealth, yes, yeah. I worked with Tonga last summer for the Olympic repechage, so that was my first time with them.
Cool.
Done the Commonwealth Games as a second therapist this week, because we've got a main physio with us, but then I take the lead role of medical next week when we go to Chile for the Challenger Series, and then I'm heading up the Sevens World Cup in Cape Town in September as well.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
It sounds like she might need some help there, Nicola. Do you
I don't think my husband would be keen on
I
that.
was going to say, do you reckon it'll stretch to another trip? Yeah.
No,
So,
I'm going on holiday with the family after this. So,
so talk to me about the kind of things that you're doing there. What's the so if we go for Nicola first, what's your typical kind of treatment? What kind of things are you doing? How many people do you see? All that kind of stuff.
Varies. I'm probably, I don't know, maybe I suppose around 10. We sort of allocate like 15 minutes per athlete, although obviously it varies. If we're very quiet, sometimes we can, spend a little bit longer. And it's mostly predominantly soft tissue work, like assisted stretching, general massage, maybe a bit of mobilisation, not much.
Okay.
Of that really, just basic, just quite simple massage really. Oh, and I'm sorry, I've just got a message from my son there. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I'll get that to him. Yeah, sorry.
Mike,
Hey,
yeah,
Mike, it's Aurora's birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday, Aurora.
That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Will you have a celebration there?
Yeah, I think we're going out for dinner now.
Hey, have a brilliant evening.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're in a nice part of the world to go out for dinner as well for your birthday. Yeah, it's very nice out there. Yeah.
No, thank you very much.
But how old are you, Aurora, if you don't mind me
I'm
asking?
24.
24. Okay. So when did you graduate? Is it a couple of years ago?
Last year.
Last year. Cool.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, what a job to land just after graduation. It's not bad, is it?
It's been pretty good. I've been pretty lucky.
Brilliant. Oh, ace. Well, have a really good night. I hope you enjoy it. That's good.
Thank you very much.
So, Tim, how's the atmosphere been where you are? How's all the athletes been and the other therapists? Do you get to see many other therapists you're working with?
Yeah, we see loads. Yeah, we bump into them all the time. But the atmosphere, I mean, I'm going to hand over to Aurora actually in a minute and just let her tell you about the atmosphere at the opening ceremony.
Oh, awesome.
Pretty cool. Yeah. If anyone watched it, how did you?
Yeah. What was it? Because it was at the Alexander Stadium, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's mental. Just sort of everyone is cheering for you. They don't necessarily know where Tonga is or who Tongans are. They don't really understand our traditional dress and stuff like that. But everyone, for a brief moment, all the attention's on you. So it was really special.
Brilliant.
But yeah, just crazy to be a part of. I don't think it's really sunk in yet that I've done this.
Yeah.
But it was crazy. It was so good.
Traditional Tongan dress.
Oh, awesome.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's like a sarong type thing.
Okay.
And then you wear this.
And then you wear grass skirt on top.
And then you have a belt.
Fantastic. That's brilliant. Well, there's your outfit sorted. There's your outfit sorted for tonight.
It was crazy. But it was really good.
Great. And have you been to the Alexander Stadium before it was all done up?
Never been. I think I've only been up to Birmingham twice in my life. So everyone's using me as the tour guide, but I don't actually know where anything is. So it's been really, really good.
We got Big Boss here as well.
Hey, how are you?
This is Richard.
Hey, Richard. How are you doing?
Yeah, excellent. Thanks.
Do you want to introduce yourself, Richard?
So I run the Sevens program for Tonga Rugby. So
Awesome.
just we had our team competing in the Commonwealth Games and preparing now to fly out to Chile on the weekend, playing the World Challenger Series, and then a few weeks after that, off to the World Cup. So yeah,
Brilliant.
Been involved with that for 20 years. So no, it's good working. Good AP here and Tim, a couple of talented, good people to have with us at the moment. So it's awesome.
Brilliant. And how are you enjoying Birmingham?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. The games, it's good environment. People friendly as. So yeah, just trying to get used to getting around the place.
Yeah.
Just rely on Aurora. The local knowledge, I don't know. It's not. Yeah. Challenge is to find us somewhere to eat some sushi for dinner tonight, but I don't know how well that's going so far. That's it up last night.
Yeah. How are the Tongan guys getting on at the moment? How many games have you played, and how are you guys getting on? How are the Tongan guys getting on at the moment?
Yeah, good luck for us. Probably the first time we qualified for Com Games World Cup.
Brilliant.
And in the same year, we won a couple of games at the couple of games at the Commonwealth Games. That was always good. Realistically, we only got together. We sort of scattered all around country or countries to say. So
yeah,
it's quite hard getting people together with COVID. That's for sure when they're in different locations. So very good group. Got through with no injuries, which is really key for us because the World Challenger Series we're going to in Chile. The team that wins that ends up being full-time on the World Series circuit, which means you go to all the tournaments and you can become a full-time program, which would be awesome.
Brilliant.
It'd be awesome for Tonga after the old earthquake and tsunami, and be pretty awesome for the country.
No, definitely. Yeah. Well, good luck with that. Yeah. Fingers crossed for you. But now I've met you, I'll be watching out for you.
Yeah, you keep an eye on those Tongans, man.
Yeah,
nice meeting you all.
Thank you very much.
You too. Take care.
Enjoy it. Thanks for coming on.
Wow, that was cool.
Yeah.
So, do you are you working with a physio team quite a bit, Nichola, or do you get to work with those guys much, or are you?
I'd say the physios are mainly based in the polyclinic with the more the medical side of things more.
Yeah.
Although I'd say there's physios do bob in and out just to check up on, see if we're all okay, or if there's any issues, obviously we can go and speak to them. If there's something that we feel is out of our remit or out of our scope of practice, then we can always ask them for advice or pull in some of the other, say, osteos, chiros, whoever, the MSK people. But yeah, feel really sort of supported and well looked after, really, in that side of things. Yeah,
that's good, really good. And Tim, you mentioned that you've had a couple of one for like first aid-ish kind of thing to deal with. So have you? Do you want to just talk to us about that kind of side of things as well?
Yeah. So one of my wrestlers about 2 weeks ago, he developed a cauliflower ear. So from constant abrasion on the ear, it sort of swelled up with blood. But he hadn't got it drained, and I don't think anyone here was really very keen to drain it either. But I said I'll do it. I've been trained in aspirations as well, so I put a needle into the sort of it fills up a pocket like here. So I popped the needle in and then got a syringe and then drained it. I've drained we get about 2.5 milliliters of blood out of it each time we do it. And then we're doing it each night. I've been running out of syringes, so I've had to go around the polyclinic like, I need a syringe. Can someone get me a syringe? So yeah, doing a little bit of first aid, and you know what? It's just small things that you need, like plasters. Yeah. You always need plasters in your medical bag because people always cut their fingers and cut things and scrape things and get blisters. Yeah, it's just small things like you always need strapping. So there's a lot of that sort of first aid, like plasters and just patching people up.
Yeah. I was going to say because it's very well. What's your day-to-day in clinic usually like, Nichola? What would you do on a day in your normal clinic back at home?
It's relatively quiet. I mean, obviously not dealing with elite athletes, but because I work within a fitness studio. Quick mention to Ainsworth Body Science there, join the evolution. Liam and the guys. So it's sort of rehabilitation, but we generally have an older clientele. We have a mixture of like older clientele and also people recovering from injuries and so yeah, it's more slower pace. Also, I do like complementary therapies, so I have people in for reflexology and more just like a de-stressy, that side of things, as well as people that train regularly and needs a bit more attention, so and taping and stuff like that. It's a bit quieter, I would say, because obviously I don't tend to work such long hours, and so because of my family commitments. Sure. So so this has been quite challenging from that point of view. And being on my feet a lot, and so we've all been like making sure we get enough breaks and keep hydrated and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's good. It's definitely like a real buzz. It's hard to wind down. I don't know about you, Tim, or whether you're more used to this kind of environment, but at the end of the day, I'm still like like this because it's just
you get really wild, don't you? proper lap buzzing. Yeah, you get really
and also
wild.
because the athletes. I mean, like yesterday we had one of the Nigerian powerlifters in, and her teammate, her training partner, we were watching her on the screen, and I wish we were all cheering. She was standing up cheering, and we were all cheering. We were kind of buzzing off her excitement and so on. How she's been really supporting her teammate, and then who sadly didn't do very well and the second event and in the clean and jerk, and she was just beside herself. She just ran out in upset. But then, however, the other lady, the lady that was watching, she competed herself today, and she brilliantly. She's a fantastic performance, Mary. Yeah. And she beat this. She gave us a figure where she's going to the lift, and she went above that. So
Wow.
So hopefully she'll come and see us tomorrow with she really well. And one of the guys that I saw, boxer, he won his by. I might take a little credit for that, but it's good to see. And then you see people go, and I've seen a few athletes that you see rounding about, and they go hi, and they, it's quite. That's how I found anyway. Obviously, I'm probably a bit overexcited about it because it's just such an amazing experience. Probably for you, Tim, it's I don't know. Do you still get that same buzz?
Yeah, I feel really it's really a privilege to be here.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty cool experience. It's a real privilege.
Oh, brilliant. No, it sounds brilliant. And so with the where if you think about the normal people that you treat in your clinic, Nicola, compared to the athletes that you're working on now, what's the big difference, if there is a big difference in kind of the way that you might treat someone, or the kind of things that you would do? Is there any difference, or are you pretty much doing what you would normally do, just on a different body?
Well, a little bit that, but then obviously it's like being more focused. So whereas I probably have half an hour to an hour, the normal day to day, and spend a bit more time on assessment and so on. Here it's like, right, you've got 15 minutes. Right, what's the key areas? What do we need to focus on? And some of the athletes are going, yes, do everything on a full, but I'm like, no. It's like, tell us the highlights, and we'll focus on that a bit, and then maybe you can come back later, and if we've got time, that kind of thing. And the other thing is from the sort of sports psychology side of things, and just how how the coaches sort of motivate their athletes, and also how even the athletes themselves, like for example this boxer that I mentioned, so he came in pre-fight and very sort of quiet, very in the zone, very into himself, and then obviously competed, won, and then he came back in today, he's high-fiving anybody, fist bumping everybody, and he was quite jokey and jovial, and just that whole mindset of how people are, and I think also they maybe value what we do, all like soft tissue therapists, manual therapists of all disciplines. They appreciate the benefit it is to them. I think that's also part of their preparation and part of their whole training cycle for most people. But then obviously, you'll know this, Tim, I mean, from some of the countries who they don't have that facility, because from a financial point of view, they don't have the luxury of that sports massage and so on, and so they're like, this is amazing, we never get this at home, and and I suppose even from medical treatment, I guess, I don't know, would you say that, Tim, that don't get access to that?
Yeah, it's really amazing seeing the difference between the smaller countries and the bigger nations. Can I show you a really, really interesting photo?
Yes, please.
So this was at the Aquatic Centre. So the athletes there get quite a lot of facilities in terms of they bring quite a lot of medical support and therapy support. And each athlete gets a massage after the event, but they get a massage from two people at the same time. I'll just show you this interesting picture and see if you can count the number of therapists actually. So this is a picture of myself working on one of our athletes. This is what happens on a smaller team. We just use sofas and whatever we can find as a bed. And this is what happens on a big team. You have Six
Yeah.
soft tissue therapists working on 3 athletes.
Yeah.
So it's like it's incredible. The swimmers just absolutely rely on it. They find it incredibly beneficial. They have a very, very hectic schedule, so they won't just do one event. Like our athletes do one event. They run a 100-meter heat. It's over in 10.6 seconds. The swimmers will do between 3 and 6 events, so they'll be swimming every day, and they'll be doing warm-up training. They'll be doing training sessions in between on their days off. Their work rate is really a lot, so they really rely on soft tissue therapy.
How does your soft tissue therapy differ then between in those multi events and then with the single events like the 100 meters? What kind of things might you change?
So for me, it varies. Like straight after the event, I just want to do a really light, relaxing kind of just a gentle massage, mostly whole body, especially legs. Legs we focus on really for the swimmers, but definitely on the back and a little bit on the shoulders as well. And the others, it's more about just sorting out niggles. They just get niggles, like ankle niggles, and luckily they get niggles. I mean, I'd much rather had niggles than an injury. So they've got an ankle issue or a stiff shoulder or backache. So we just work on them each individually. So it just depends on each individual athlete. Sometimes I prepare them before they do an event. Sometimes I give them some loosening up. For example, my 100-meter runner today, he was fine doing it on his own. He didn't need anything. But our shot putter, she's been getting some niggles, so I just did some work on her just to prepare her for an event. I'll be seeing her later tonight as well.
Brilliant. And have you found that as well, Nicola, with depending on when people are competing or if they've already competed, you've had to change what you do?
Yeah, I would agree with Tim there. Definitely, just light massage sort of afterwards. I think it's also helps a bit of like a come down sort of thing after being, they come in, they're really tense. A lot of the boxers are coming in really tense because they're all right hyped for the, for their bout and so on. And afterwards the adrenaline, I think, is still coursing through, isn't it? Whereas we've had quite a lot of the netball teams as well, and like you say, they've had maybe 3 events and then training and so on. So, and some of I had a badminton athlete today, and she had some issue with poor rotation in her shoulder. So I did some work on mobilization of her shoulder and so on, and just working into that. And then going back to netball. Sorry, like retaping, areas like calves, a lot of calf stuff and that kind of thing. But yeah, definitely you have to sort of tailor to where it is that when how it fits in with their training schedule and competing.
There's also something also that I see quite regularly, but it's highlighted again with this event, especially looking after a team that's travelled, sort of some of them travelled 30 hours to get here, is that you see airplane-related, travel-related stiffness.
Okay, yeah.
We had 2 athletes with swollen ankles, which was from the flight. So I had another athlete with Achilles pain, which I think could have been related to that.
I didn't think of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we did the long journey. Really has it makes the body quite achy, and the jet lag as well, and it throws the body clock, it throws their rhythm. So they find themselves quite stiff, and they just feel they need some sort of therapy.
Yeah.
And the other one that we see a lot of, and it affected our guys too, was the opening ceremony, because they're on our feet. We're on our feet for a long time. I mean, we're on our feet for like 4 or 5 hours, and next day their legs are shot.
Yeah.
They're just so achy. And so that's a really common thing we find with athletes. So a lot of them will come in for massage, therapy, physio, soft tissue work. Next thing.
So because we were talking about this, my wife and I, with the triathlete guys, because obviously the triathlon was the first event on that first morning. So do you reckon those guys will have missed the opening ceremony so that they can rest
they're
up?
Smart. Yes. So what I would advise to any athlete, if you're competing the next day, do not go to the opening ceremony. Teams, I think GB actually restrict their athletes from going if they're competing the next day. Quite a lot of teams will restrict them.
Yeah.
Our country, I think the small countries typically won't.
Yeah.
They'll just let the athlete choose. But there is an option for the athletes to leave early.
Right.
So, but a lot of them, when they're there, they don't want to leave because it's quite a cool atmosphere. But you can get a bus, so you march in, but it's just a prequel because you know what, they've got to get you all in a holding pen. So you go in this massive holding pen, and you're standing there for ages. They've got to get you. They've got to bus you all there. So you're busing like thousands of athletes, right, and officials. So it's a logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
Bus everyone in, put you in a holding pen, keep you all watered with biscuits and crunchy bars. We get millions of these.
Yeah,
that's not advertising, by the way. They just supply them, and you know what? But you're on your feet all the time, and you're like there for like 5-6 hours. So it's such a long day. But you've got to leave at like 4 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And the ceremony starts at 8, and it doesn't finish. We didn't get back till 12:30.
Well, okay, yeah. I did wonder that because I think it was Yi who won the triathlon, and he looked really fresh. I was like, he can't have been up till midnight. No chance.
And then trying to get buses back at night. Oh,
yeah,
waiting like 45 minutes for a bus.
Blimey. Well, blimmin' heck. Yeah, it's funny, is it, that like all the logistical things like that you don't necessarily think about until you're involved in it. Yeah. So you mentioned, Nichola, when we were having a chat before about picking up techniques from other therapists. Who have you kind of been working with, and who have you been learning from?
Well, we had a soft tissue sports therapist in the other day, and I think he'd been involved with rugby predominantly in his career, and so he was showing me some MET stretches, particularly for TFL and things like that. So I was able to then have a go with that on one of my netballers that I saw. They came in and I was like, oh great, I know a thing that might work with that. So yeah, so I think that was successful, and I've had some good feedback. I had a couple of clients who were physios I've got some really nice feedback from, which is really good. I'm actually going to apologise and see if I can leave a bit early, because I'm aware that I've kind of extended my break time.
Yeah, of course.
Let the guys down. They're probably thinking, what do you know?
What's she doing? No problem at all. No, so, thank you for joining us. It's been brilliant.
Oh no, thank you. So I just like a big shout out to all the athlete recovery team and everybody in the polyclinic here at Hilton Metropole. And thank you, Tim, for inviting me. I much appreciate that. And enjoy the rest of the games. And likewise, Mike, I'll be going to try out your hometown. I'm probably go down Spark Hill or something, maybe grab a curry.
Rude not to. Curries, yeah, no problem at all. Yeah.
Yeah. All right then. Thanks for your time. I guess you're
great to see you.
Oh, thank you. I mean, you log me out, or I just log myself out?
I'll drop you down into the lobby now.
Thank you so much. All right, take care, guys. All the best. Bye.
How cool is that?
That was so cool, right? I love it when things go crazy. I mean, just grabbing Aurora, she's great. She's they're off out for dinner. Lucky lot. We can't do that. We've got athletes competing tomorrow, but the sevens are over, so they're finished. They finished after 3 days. So they can enjoy themselves a little bit more.
Any major injuries or anything that you've had to deal with the lads, or that they've been okay?
No, so my involvement, I don't look after sevens at all, and they're the big ones that will pick up the injuries if you typically get the nasty ones. But no, I mean, weightlifting, wrestling are very, very safe, and no, the guy's been really good. So it's been niggles only, which has been really, I mean, the worst thing. You know what it's like, Mike. We just hate the big injuries. It's just, I fear them. I literally feel like, oh my God, please don't have a big injury. I niggles. All athletes get niggles. They all get niggles. And they all get so much benefit from. I don't know. It's like therapy just seems to let them get into a certain mindset. And they get so much benefit from it. It's unbelievable. They're so grateful for it. They really appreciate it. It really helps their bodies. They feel like it helps, and they feel much better for it.
Brilliant. I think that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, that's what sports massage was designed for, was exactly what you're doing with it. So it's the athletes really respond to it. I think if they if they had a choice between certain therapists, they would definitely choose one that had the manual therapy skills. And if you weren't very good with your hands, then they wouldn't.
I don't think you could work in this environment if you weren't, because they just it's kind of synonymous really with sport. I mean, all the teams, all the top teams, they all have these therapists that support them. And so I think if you're purely rehabilitation based, exercise based, I think you would really, really struggle in this environment. Because the guys really feel like they need that hands-on therapy. And you know what? Whether it works or not, they feel the benefit. And if they feel like it helps, then you're doing so much good for their psychology, I think, because they feel like that their body's fresh or better or looser or warmer or whatever from having it. So they feel like it's a huge benefit. So whether you believe it works or not, I know it works, of course. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. So it's super important. The guys, it helps them get into the right mindset.
Yeah, I think you're right, because it's all the arguments that you see online about manual therapy. They're for a different population at a different time, and there's a time and a place for manual therapy. And I think this is definitely one of those times and places. If you can support that athlete to compete in the next event, or that, like you say, they've got a niggle, and you can just calm that down a little bit, and they feel it's symptom modification, and then they're able to go out and compete. And that's huge, isn't it? It's massive.
It's huge. I mean, if I identify that they've got, let's say they've got some shoulder pain, they've got a weak rotator cuff, right? Let's say some weakness on supraspinatus resistance or something, I don't know, right? Let's say that they're quite weak in rotator cuff on one side. You've got a competition in 2 or 3 days. They just want some pain relief. They want it just to have it rubbed and for it to feel better. I'm not going to get a band with them and start doing some strengthening exercises.
Exactly.
It just doesn't feel like it's the right time. That's the sort of thing I'll say to them. Right, once your competition's over, let's start working. Let's start strengthening. Let's do this. Let's get you into the right frame of mind to integrate this into your routine each week. And I'll make them an exercise plan, and I'll give it to them, and I'll say, right, do this, and you do this program, and but they need therapy. They want therapy. They want that touch. So I think you'd be lost if you didn't have those skills in this environment.
Yeah, definitely. And do you get the athletes telling? I guess they can tell you, because that they're the ones that are most important. But do they kind of guide what you do, or have they got a clear vision in their head about what they want done to them?
Yeah, absolutely. The experienced ones will have had a lot of different therapists work on them. They've got they're with us in a lot of different people, so they know what they want. And they'll often say, and I'll actually often say to them, tell me what works. If they've got chronic backache, let's say they've got chronic backache, so they'll say what works, what have you had, what seems to help you, and then the younger ones may have had less exposure to it, and they're quite happy just to you kind of sort of talk to them. Does this feel good? Does this help? Does this sort of make it feel easier? And they'll often say, I just feel like I need it loosened up, or it just feels tight, or I'm just feeling stiff, or I'm just achy. Like, we're getting a lot of things. A lot of my guys are suffering with, achy calves. They're just feeling achy, and they get real benefit from having, some gentle massage on it or some stretching on it. So it's just that sort of stuff. So we just listen to our patient. We take a case history, and we find out previous injuries. We talk to them. We communicate with them. We try and build the picture and put the jigsaw pieces together and figure out what might help this person.
Brilliant. And if you did need to escalate anything, and because I mentioned about the polyclinics a couple of times, what kind of things are available to you if you needed to have a specific I don't know, a scan or an injection or something like that? Is that what kind of setup is there?
Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely loads available. So I'm in the polyclinic almost every day, catching up with people, finding out what's around. I'll always do a scout. So whenever I go to a venue, I'll scout, and there's always a medical room. So I'll go to the medical room, I find out who's there, I'll find out what they've got, I'll just see what the facilities I've got. Because at warm-up wrestling, I needed some surgical gloves. and I didn't have any in my bag. I don't know, I was supposed to use them, whatever. And went to medical person there. Physio actually was there. And I said, got any surgical gloves? And he was like, yeah, there you go. And so, you know what, there's always facilities. So you always scout first and find out what's around, because it's always worth utilising the other resources there. We never work alone. We always collaborate. We can always then bring in other practitioners to help. And if one of my athletes was injured or needed a scan, I would go to the polyclinic. Then I'd ask to speak to the sports doctor on call that day. And I'd speak to them. I'd be with the athlete. We'd go in a consultation together. I'd say, this is the injury. This is my findings. Could we move this to a ultrasound scan or an MRI? Yeah. And we have an MRI and ultrasound scanning and X-ray on site at each major campus.
Wow.
Yeah, on site. Brilliant. Which is amazing. Yeah. I haven't used it yet, but I wouldn't hesitate to use it. If I had a muscle tear, the first thing I would do is I'll take that athlete to the polyclinic, get a consultation with a sports doctor and request an ultrasound scan. Then the radiographer would do an ultrasound scan and do a brief report. And we would be there live watching it.
I was going to say they must report back pretty quick. Is it like literally as soon as they see the images, then they're giving you the feedback and of what
they give us live feedback. So a good example was a couple of years ago when an athlete tore a hamstring. Mm-hmm. That news, that sort of situation. Yeah, again, it's different to normal public, but that situation where you want to know what's going on. Yeah, how bad is it? So it scans it. They could see, where the tear was. It was down the central tendon of the biceps femoris, and they gave us an idea how big the tear was.
Yeah.
Okay, so that sort of thing is just live scanning is phenomenal.
Yeah,
but it's not some, but we try and manage without those facilities, but we can always call on those facilities. I mean, it's amazingly collaborative. It's never a problem. You walk in, if you haven't got this, if it's not in your scope of practice, it doesn't matter, because you'll find someone that has the scope of practice. There's plenty of things I don't know. I can go to polyclinic. I can go and speak to Aurora, or we've been talking about stuff together. Or it doesn't matter. There's always people that have got answers to problems.
Yeah, brilliant. And it's a multidisciplinary team as well. So because obviously your background osteo, is it?
Osteo, physio, soft tissue therapists, podiatrist, sports doctor, GP, radiologist, radiographer.
Awesome.
And there's some specialisms as well.
Brilliant. That's
if you had a difficult, let's say there was a particular difficult specialist thing, medical thing you needed to, they'll find you someone.
Brilliant. And is it much different from the Olympics? So when you did Rio, was it was there much different in the setup, or is it just the scale of it?
It's pretty much the same. I mean, a couple of things that would have been useful. I mean, we haven't got a game ready here, so I find game ready quite good. So it's like the ice compressors.
Yeah, I was going to say that would have been good for the guys that were traveling as well, I guess.
Yeah, for the ankle swelling. So my two ankle swelling, my two guys with the ankle swelling, I actually wanted to take them into the polyclinic and get game ready. But actually, we just used manual ice and elevation and for that. And there wasn't a shockwave in the polyclinic, which usually there is. So in Tokyo there was, but there wasn't a shockwave. But that's okay, because we just managed about it. I mean, we're not expecting there to be a full suite of stuff. It's just you just make do with what's there. But it's been fantastic, like really, really good. The medical facilities here are unbelievable. And there's loads of volunteers.
So if someone's listening to this, who's a soft tissue therapist, sports massage therapist, what would they? What kind of advice would you give them to try and get into doing this kind of work? Where would they need to go through? What would they need to do? Experience they'd need to build up? What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, you really need to have been working with sports, okay? Because when you apply for these posts, you're going to need to show your experience. They will take on some new grads because they want the new sort of breeds coming through. The people that do the selections. But they want some sports experience. So if you haven't got sports experience, you really need to go out there and get it. And the best way to get it is just to literally walk down to your local rugby club and say, I'm a soft tissue therapist. Would you like some help? And they'll probably bite your arm off and say, we'd love some help.
Yeah.
Would you be able to come down on a Tuesday evening for training and look after our boys? The funds may not be significant. You may need to offer them, 2 or 3 months for free, but then negotiate and say, look, perhaps give you a couple of months free, but then, my rate is 50 quid an evening or 60 quid an evening or something, back when I did that, I did it for free for 2 years. I'm not saying it's right to do it free. It depends on what it is, but if it's your local club, it's actually a really good thing because then you work with some sort of good sports people and then it feeds into your clinic as well.
Yeah.
Because then they send their partners and their friends to you. So you build a network, don't you? You build a community.
Yeah.
I would say, so first of all, you need to just start by working with athletes, right? Get into some local sports clubs. It could be your local athletics club. Just pop down to local athletics club and say, look, do you need some help from a soft tissue therapist on a Monday night? Okay. And then what you do is just look out for opportunities. So there are major games that happen almost every year. And now there's a real push for volunteers.
Yeah.
So a lot of them will ask for volunteers for medical services. Volunteering is one of those things. I think volunteering is really good when there's a life experience involved. So I'm a volunteer here. I don't get paid. I don't want pain because it's a life experience. So I would say look for voluntary opportunities.
Yeah.
Volunteering is really cool for these major games. All of these guys do it. All the workforce do it. And then you go for an application. So you fill in the application and you go for the application. So look for the major games. Like, there was the World Indoor Athletics Championships in Birmingham in 2017. There was the World Outdoor Athletics Championships in 2018, where they had soft tissue therapists at both those events. Glasgow 2014, there were soft tissue therapists. This 2022. So every couple of years there's an event where they need. London Marathon. Just today we got an email request from a charity saying, we've got 30 runners representing our charity. Would you be willing to do sports massage at a hotel between 1 and 5 p.m? Could you help us? And if anyone is interested in that, please put your details on because I can, you can come and join our team and get some experience.
Yeah, brilliant. And
I've done the London Marathon. And then I've done the World Indoor Athletics Championships, or the X Championships, or the school games, or or whatever it is. And you can volunteer. Some of them will pay as well. I believe school games pay. So that's how you do it. You've got to look out for the events and then look for volunteering applications. They're usually like a year before, and then apply. Yeah.
Brilliant. It's a very, very similar route to what I took when I very first qualified. I worked with because I don't think we've ever met face to face, but I'm only 5'7", so I'm not the tallest chap in the world. But my game was basketball, believe it or not, and I looked after the Birmingham Bullets basketball team. I did it for free, and I did it for nearly 2 years, I think. But the experience I got in that was just huge. One of my mates ran the club, so that was useful because I had a bit of an in with him. But then I could put on all my marketing that I worked with the Birmingham Bullets, and also I don't think it matters which sports you go for, because it opens the doors up to lots of different sports, because everybody moves around in different sporting environment. So we've got a physio working at our clinic now who's he's worked with the netball team, and now he's working with GB archery, and completely unrelated sports, but because of what he's done, it's then opened up doors into other things.
100%. It doesn't really matter. You can absolutely switch sports. You don't need to stay in a sport all the time. I get a bit bored, so I like to switch sports every 4 or 5 years. And do a different sport and learn the biomechanics of a different sport, and the different patterns of injuries and the rules and laws and stuff. So you can absolutely do that, and I'd really recommend anyone to do it. Just give it a go. Just get down your local club and start, and just start offering some treatments and see what happens. It'll come back to you. It'll come back in clients and patients and people asking you to do stuff. And then, of course, and it's the sort of thing you can do when you're a new grad. If you're more established, you don't need to do it because you've got income coming in. But if you've got a gap in your diary, you're a bit quiet, maybe just go and do it.
Yeah,
and just for a limited time, like 6 months, 3 months, a year.
That's really, it's good advice for anybody that's watching who wants to get into this kind of thing. It literally is that. It's just knocking on the door all the time, and sometimes you do have to give up your time a little bit. And I know we don't really like giving our time away too much, but when there's a clear benefit to it, and the experience of it, working with like Nichola was talking about, working with all those different therapists, she can learn from them, she can learn from the athletes. So there's it's like a million CPD courses in a few days. All of that.
You've got to weigh up, like when they're just taking a mickey. If they want you to travel to Doncaster and they're going to pay you 25 quid, they're taking a mickey, right? But actually, if it suits you and it's close to home, it's close to your clinic, and you want to get some experience, and so it's kind of like you've got to figure out what's kind of going to as well help your career path, because like you say, you put down that you've been working for X team, and it is useful for your career, especially for the newer qualified people out there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Tim, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks.
I know you've been really busy, and a long day for you. So thank you very much. Thank you to Aurora and Richard for joining us as well. And happy birthday to Aurora. And thank you, Nichola, for jumping in as well, kind of last minute really, to share your experience as well. So that was brilliant. Could just feel the excitement from her. It was great, really good.
Yeah.
And
thanks to you as well. Thanks for being a great host. Thanks to
no problem at all.
You did great.
Yeah, no worries. And if you need any advice on where to eat in Birmingham, then give me a shout.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. And I'm on next week with Claire Minchell. So we've got Claire coming on next week, and hopefully we might have YouTube sorted by then. We never know. But if not, then we'll broadcast into the Facebook group again, and Matt will upload it to YouTube when he gets back. But Tim, thanks again. And I will see everybody next week, 8 o'clock.